You know, this nature center that we're all in today is one of 9 in the state. And it has welcomed guests from all over the world. It's very unique in that it's the first nature center in the state of Arkansas to have welcomed over 1 million guests. And this started, that first million eclipsed about this time last year. It was accomplished, I think, July. Yet, soon after that happened, we were all on a high, about 1 million guests at Crawley's Ridge. We had a tragedy. About 200 yards up the hill, our field office burned. And that was a blow to us, and it displaced numerous employees from all different divisions who were working in this part of the state. And I'd like to thank all those employees, many of whom are here today, for their resilience and their continued work ethic that they've endured throughout this rebuilding process, and we are rebuilding, and it won't be long. It's fitting, then, that this facility has been chosen for some very big and exciting news today. First time ever in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And it's news that is going to continue to accelerate the growth and the success of Arkansas Game and Fish Commission as we move forward in the stewardship of the many resources of the natural state. And now it's my privilege to welcome someone who's just completed her 7th year term on the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. It's a term where she's also seen great change at Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And it's a end of an era and the end of her 7-year term, where as chairman in her 7th year, she finished with strength, resolve, and vision. So if you would, please welcome past chairman, I didn't say former, past chairman, Anne-Marie Dramus. Anne-Marie.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see this room full today, and very excited to celebrate our newest commissioner that's soon to be announced. And I will be brief because as I walked in, I noticed that there is a rattlesnake up there at the front, and he was looking around like, what are all these people doing in my house? So I think that it's about the end of the day, and we'll get the show on the road. But thank you so much for asking me to speak today. It's been an incredible 7 years. You know, when you join this commission, there's no instruction manual on how to be a commissioner. You know that you're tasked with governing all the rules and regulations for all fish and wildlife in the state of Arkansas. But what you don't realize is all the time and commitment that goes into it, but most importantly, the people that you get to meet and how special that makes this job. And I just hope and know that our next commissioner, who will be taking this podium very soon, will find a lot of fulfillment in that, and wish you all the best over the next 7 years. Now, it is my honor and privilege to introduce the governor of the state of Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Good afternoon. It is great to be back in Jonesboro, and thank you all so much for joining us at the Arkansas Game and Fish's Forrest L. Wood Nature Center. I'm glad that we get to have this announcement here because Forrest was one of a kind. He was a fishing guide that believed he could design a boat better than the one he owned, and so he did. And from there, he built Ranger Boats into the iconic brand it became. Bigger than the company he built was his love of people, driven by his deep Christian faith. I can think of no better place to recognize the incredible men and women who make up the Arkansas Game and Fish than the place that bears Forrest's name. Very few people have left their mark on this organization like our outgoing Game and Fish Commission chairwoman, Anne-Marie Dramus. Anne-Marie not only did a great job on behalf of the outdoor community, she was also the first woman to ever serve as the Game and Fish Commission chair and has been a phenomenal leader for our state. But she didn't lead this group because she wanted to be first. She led it because she wanted Arkansas to be first, especially when it came to conservation. I know that she will continue to be a major influence in our state, and I plan to call on her often. So warning, you're not finished. I'm especially going to miss her bringing her babies to all of our meetings, and I can think of no better way than to take a moment than to ask this group to stand and recognize and thank Anne Marie for her incredible service. I know we've got several members of the legislature here in the room. They do an amazing job representing this area of the state and supporting so many things that are so important to Arkansas's way of life. If you guys could stand up and let us recognize and thank you as well. I'd also like to congratulate our incoming chair, Rob Finley. Conservation is literally in his blood. Rob's grandfather owned a fishing and bait store on Portia Bay, and he was fishing off of his grandfather's dock by the time he was 4. He and I also spent one of the coldest days I've ever had fishing together on the White River. It was in early January, and I'd come up for an event at his lodge. I found out that the guides bet we wouldn't last 20 minutes on the water, but I'm competitive, so I refused to give in, and Rob and I stayed out there for 3 hours, to the point I'm pretty sure neither one of us could feel our fingers and toes. I know that he is going to bring that same commitment and ensure opportunities to be in our great outdoors are possible for every kid across our state, and I look forward to continue to work with him. Thank you, Rob. We're also joined by an elite and amazing group of commissioners: Phil Tappan, Bill Jones, Chris Caldwell, Jamie Anderson, and Dr. Michelle Evans-White. Thank you so much for the great work that each one of you do and for the service and time and sacrifice that all of you spend on behalf of the Game and Fish Commission. I also want to say thank you to Director Doug Schoenrock and Foundation President Deke Whitbeck for your service to the commission and the just unbelievable job that you are doing helping lead this team and take Arkansas to the next level. But I know nobody came here to hear me thank all of these great people while we could stand here and do that all day, because they do a lot of work that is never recognized, never noticed, and spend countless hours working. The real reason that we're here is because I'm pleased to join all of you and announce my newest appointee to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, my good friend, Steve Keeter. Y'all can cheer, we'll pause. Steve and I have gotten to know each other over the last 5 years. He was one of my earliest supporters, and to no surprise, hosted a massive fish fry at his place with several hundred people. I've sat around his kitchen table with his family and shared a catfish dinner straight from his farm. He's the kind of guy who works hard no matter what and always takes care of the people around him. Last fall, I had the chance to bring several members of my administration to his farm in Paragould and tour his catfish operation. It's okay if they cry. That's what we're all here for, is to make sure that the next generation of Arkansas hunters and fishers get to enjoy this incredible, beautiful creation that we've inherited. Last fall, I had the chance to bring my team up there, and it's fitting that given we sell almost 500,000 fishing licenses a year, that we will have not just one, but now 2 commissioners who spend their day working as fish farmers. And I know that Steve's background will make him an excellent new member of one of our state's most important bodies. Steve is a lifelong resident of Greene County. He went on his first duck hunt when he was only 7 years old, joining his dad in the flooded timber that makes the Arkansas Delta such a special place. As a kid, Saturday mornings and Sunday after church meant one thing: hunting and fishing. And now, as a husband to Emily, father of 3, and grandfather to 2, as you can see the great job he's doing here, Steve is sharing those memories with his own family. Not long ago, my husband Brian, who's here with me today, and our 11-year-old son George were driving out to a friend's hunting camp deep in the Delta. They hit the road late. The music was on. George put the window down and he stared up at the stars overhead. He said, "It should be a rule that you can never live somewhere where you can't see the stars." After a successful hunt the next morning, they were driving home, and George turned to Brian and said, "Daddy, I've made my decision. I'm going to live in the Delta when I grow up. It has it all. You can farm, you can hunt, you can fish, and you can see the stars." Moments like that remind me how blessed we are to call Arkansas home and how special this part of our state is. That doesn't happen by accident. That takes all of us working together to make sure that the next generation can enjoy the farming, the fishing, the hunting, and the stars that we all love. I know Steve is someone who understands that deeply. And more than that, I know he has the knowledge and the dedication to persevere and to protect the beautiful state that each of us call home. Steve, I am so thrilled to have you join this commission, and I'm even more excited to see what you will accomplish during these 7 years of leadership. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your friendship. And ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our newest commissioner, Mr. Steve Keeter.
Thank you, Governor Sanders, for entrusting me with this appointment. It's truly one of the greatest honors of my life and a dream come true for a man who grew up duck hunting on Black River in the St. Francis Sunken Lands. When I was a young adult, Bill Brewer of Paragould was appointed to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. He was a role model for me, and his appointment sparked a dream in me that I never thought would actually come true. I want to thank my wife, Emily, for her unwavering support in all my endeavors. I wish my father was here today so that I could properly thank him for fostering my love for the Arkansas outdoors. Thank you to my family and friends that I've spent 50 years hunting and fishing with in the great state of Arkansas. There are many people in this room tonight that I have shared a duck blind with or stood by a tree in flooded timber with. My cousin Brian is one of those. We've hunted together our entire lives. Our fathers were with me when I was 9, and I shot my first duck on the St. Francis Sunken Lands. Brian was with me when I was 12, and I shot my first deer. He was with me again when I was 17, and I shot my first turkey, which he called in. Many weekends we could be found trailing behind our bird dogs in pursuit of the bobwhite quail on his grandfather's farm near Pocahontas. My love for the Arkansas outdoors started early in life. When I started school in the first grade, I was usually late. I demanded that my grandfather drive me around the fish ponds to make sure everything was okay before headed to school. In high school, I often hunted or ran my traps before going to class. After school, Saturdays, Sundays after church were reserved for my dad and I to hunt and fish. In my lifetime, there's been so many success stories facilitated by the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. When I was growing up, you had to travel hours away to deer hunt. Turkeys were just being reintroduced to the Ozarks. I can remember my great uncles telling me that they used to have to drive to Baxter County to hunt deer. In those days, that was a 4 or 5 hour trip. When we hunted in North Arkansas, we were excited if we saw a deer track or even a flash of a deer's tail. Occasionally, you would hear of someone harvesting a deer, but that was not the norm. Today, turkey and deer are abundant throughout most of the state, thanks to the efforts of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. I've been blessed to share my love of the Arkansas outdoors with my wife and 3 children. I've had the opportunity to witness each of them harvest their first deer and to take them on their first duck hunts. I look forward to doing the same with my grandchildren. With the leadership of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, we can ensure that Arkansans can continue to share these resources and traditions with their families and the generations to come. In closing, I'd like to thank you all for coming today. It's humbling to be appointed to this position by Governor Sanders, and an honor to be part of the continued efforts of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.